What is this miracle tool WD API that is coming with WinDev? Well, first, how do you get to it? Well, as usual with the tools, you go inside the tools menu, you choose WD tool, and in there you have WD API. Let's see. I'm going to the tools menu, WD tool control center. Let me move that here for you. Here is what's happening, and here you see on the upper right you have WD API, and you just click here and you have the tool. So what's in it? More than 1600 Windows API functions are directly described as source code for WinDev. More than 600 structures are already available directly in wlanguage, ready for you to use. More than 6,000 constant values are already available in there. There is even a tool to automatically convert for you C code into wlanguage. So you basically paste the code that you find in C language somewhere, and it's going to convert it for you. And it's available both for the function and for the structure defined in C. And then there's even a link to MSDN or other website for help on functions. So it is a really great tool. We're going to have a little look at it now. And I've seen that at least 90% of all the questions that are asked on the forum about one API call or another are directly answered by WD API. You just need to look in it, and most of the time you'll find the answer. Let's have a look at WD API. You have here a list of all the functions, with of course the possibility to search in them, and for each of them you will have here the wlanguage code, an example. If there is a structure, you have the definition of the structure coming in automatically. You have the possibility to add the WD language code to display a message if an error occurs. If you do this, you end up code for error management. So as you can see, it's already extremely complete. Of course, there's not everything. Here you have also more than 600 structure already defined, and as you can see, you just have to copy and paste inside your project. Same thing for the constant. What are the value for each constant? You just need to look at it. Here you can just paste your C function. It will be modified in wlanguage. Your structure will be modified. It's great, but do not think that it's going to solve all your problem. This tool is not perfect. It doesn't have all the API, it doesn't have all the structure or all the constant, and even the conversion tool is going to misfire from time to time. It's a helper, it's not the answer to all the questions. Now the favorite site is some place where you can add yourself URLs with the, as you can see, the keyword for the function, and it will allow you to search directly on the web for more information about a function or another. So this is a great tool. Really you should really use it as soon as you start using API, and we're going to use it for the example that is coming at the end of this course to show you what you get and what you don't get. Now there is also something else. WD API is one of the answer, but another answer is in the help again. You have one page that is extremely important as soon as you start using outside tools, and the name of this page is called Variable Conversion of C Type. I'm going to show you this page so that you are sure that it's there, available. Variable conversion of C type. You don't have to take my word for it. And what do you have in it? You have all the C types possible listed, a comment, and the corresponding wlanguage type. And as you can see, there are lots of them with the whole description here. So when you need to transform some external code, that's where you are working, and it gives you commands also on using string retrieve to retrieve the value and all that. And so you have really a lot of information available in the help. Please read it. Let's talk about strategy. When you need to do something, when you want to do something that is not included directly as a function in wlanguage, you know that you are going to need to use an API call. So let's take an example for this strategy session. You want to get the size and the position of the taskbar. Why? Well, because you're planning on building a very fancy UI, and this UI is going to automatically adapt whether the taskbar is at the bottom, at the top, at the left, right, whatever. It's going to automatically cling to it and have several windows and do this, do that, whatever. The bottom line is that you cannot do anything if you don't know where the taskbar is and what size. It's basically your starting point. So you don't have a wlanguage function for that, and the first thing to do is to find which API to use. The first way to do that, because there are several ways, the first way to do that, to find what API to use, is to go in the MSDN library. Well, clearly you want to do something concerning Windows and COM development. It has to do with the user interface, so little by little you get to the point that interests you. It's part of the Windows shell. Clearly it's in the middle of the Windows shell reference, shell function, and there you find, of course, before that you went through 3 or 4 different options clearly, but you find a function called sh, like shell, app bar message, and you read it and you find that in it there is a constant abm get taskbar position. So that looks promising. It looks like it's something that you need to use for your task at hand. Of course, for that you need to remember that the address to find this information is this one, on msdn microsoft.com. Now that is one solution. As you can see, there's a lot of different steps going deeper and deeper inside the information, and you may spend a few hours reading before you find the one that you're looking for. So another way of doing that generally goes faster to give you a starting point is to simply do a Google search with a few keywords. You start with API because it's an API call, and you want to do what? Get taskbar position. If you do that, you will find posts talking about the sh app bar message function, and therefore you will be able to go into MSDN to get more details on it, and you say, okay, that seems to be what I'm looking for, and it's going to be much faster this way. Now, once you know which function to use, let's go in WD API and type sh app bar message. Let's see if we have something in the API tool. So, sh app bar message, here it is. So, look at that. We have this, and we have that structure for sh app bar message. Isn't that great? So what do we do? Well, next step is to copy the declarations, to copy the code, to correct them if necessary, correct both the declaration and the code if necessary. By example, in the English version of WD API, the declaration of unsigned int is in reverse. Instead of having unsigned int, as you can see, we have here is int unsigned, and that is going to create a compile error into your code. That's really nothing. You can solve that in half a second, so it's not perfect. Then you need to add the constants, because the constants are not in this code, and you may have to look for them in the constant tab if they are here. Let's see. ABM get taskbar post. Yes, we have it. It's there. We have the value. So we have everything needed here. That's absolutely great, and because it's going to solve lots of time. Now you may need to add init values, and for that you will need to look in any case at the MSDN page of the function to see exactly how you're supposed to use the thing. And once you've done that and you're quite confident that it should work, you test. Once the test says, okay, it seems to be working, it's time, and right now, not later, maybe you should even have done it before, to clean the code, because clearly what you got from there is quite ugly. As you can see, all that is, you can see that this does not respect your charter, so you need to all that is quite ugly, and you want to really make your whole code, including API calls, readable as easily as possible. So you need to make sure that the charter is followed. You need to make sure that all the variable names have meaningful name, and not just this string or that string or this integer. You need to comment, add lots of comments, and the best way to do that as a starting point is to copy and paste all the comment of the function from the MSDN page, so that you have the reference with you as commands inside your code, and you don't have to go back and look for it later. You should also paste the URL of the MSDN page for quick reference, so that you can go back there if you think that you missed something. So when you come back in 3 months, you will have the information and not have to lose your time. It's there, paste it, it's easy. And then you can, because you followed my object-oriented programming course, decide to take your code that you have tested and put it in a class as a method with parameters for future use. This way it will be, by example, CL API Windows shell colon sh app bar message, and you can add all your function in that. That would be great to use. Well, let's have a look. This example is in fact what you get in my small example project. Let me see where that is. It's over there. So this example has one window, one button. If you run it, let me show you here, you get that, and when you click on it, you get this. Okay, so my taskbar position left 0, top 0, right 29, 20, bottom 40. This means that the taskbar is at the top of the screen. and that my screen is 2920 wide. And you get the message a second time. Why is that? Well, because in the button itself I did the work twice. So I did exactly what I told you to do in the strategy. I copied the information from the WD API about the structure. And as you can see, now this code is following my charter. It's an int, it's an unsigned int, and so on and so forth. So all that is the clean code. But at the end, as you can see, I'm following my advice, and you have the corresponding page. I've copied all the command from the MSDN page also. And after that, same thing, commands and all that. You can look at the detail. It's not really important at that point, but just to show you that it's becoming something that is usable. Then at that point, I have here my call using the API syntax. As you can see, we are calling shell32, it's the DLL, and the function is sh app bar message with two parameters, one being a double word and the other being something complex, which is basically here an integer, a pointer, and you can see here I did not respect the charter for one reason. I wanted to emphasize the fact that this is a pointer on a structure, so the P is for pointer. It's a choice. You can do it different way if you want to. But after that, inside it's a structure, and the structure is app bar data, and the app bar data is defined over there. So all that is working fine. And you have here the test saying, okay, if it's different than 0, then there was a result. So we are extracting the information from the structure that was used to get the information. And in this case here, this p data here is a pointer to a structure that we have created in advance that has been filled by this function, and now we are looking inside the structure for the different information, left side, top side, and so on. Now that's the first info. The second info is about the exact same thing, but with the second method. Instead of using the API syntax, I'm using the declaration of an API description, and as you can see, I'm putting in the name shell32, just like here. In the name, the function name, the same thing than here. Then the return type, that's the type for this, is a system integer, and for the two parameters here, they are system integers too, as they are passed as address. Once this is done, I'm calling directly my new variable as a function with the two parameters the same way that were passed here, and then the lines are exactly the same to display the result. So this is really the second syntax doing the same thing than the first one, just to show you that one is not that more complex than the previous one. It's just a different way of doing things. So if we review the whole thing in short, the hard part is really to find what to use, and the easiest way to do that is to Google it. It's much faster than going through all the archive and learn everything there is to know about everything. Now, converting from C to wlanguage is generally the easy part, and mostly because you have WD API that does most of the work for you. If that's not enough, remember you have this huge page in the help with all the conversion tips that you may need. Now, understanding exactly what to send to a function can be tricky. Very often it's some system stuff, you're not sure exactly what to do. So again, Google it. You will find example, not in wlanguage, but you will find example in explanation that you can use to understand what to do. There is no need to be an API guru to call an API in WinDev. I hope that at that point I've shown you that it's a step-by-step process that is not that complicated. There's no need to be an API guru, and I'm sure, absolutely certain that I'm not. And I was able to make this course for you and to call several APIs, and I use that a lot in my development tools. So I'm certainly not an API guru. You don't need to be. Don't be afraid. Use APIs.